Hey, what's up everyone, Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be breaking down the fastest 40-yard dash at the Combine this year, and we're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
All right, so DJ Turner here ran a 4.26 in the 40. That's tying him for the 5th fastest 40 ever. The main thing that we want to be able to look into here is the technique and how he was able to actually achieve the 4.26. And funny enough, this always seems to happen where some of these guys that are running the best times do some of the things that are against some of the coaching that I think a lot of us do when it comes to improving your mechanics, improving your overall sprint speed. And so we'll go into a couple of those. What we see here is the action. What I mean by that is, like, you know, most of us, when you're first starting out here, we want to be able to keep that chin tucked a little bit more and get a better position within the head. We don't want to just immediately pop up with your chin. And so that ends up not being a great thing to do overall. But obviously he was able to do it. And what's more important though is to really see the knee drive, right? So the position that we want to be able to get into, and this is even why I say that it's not always about staying low, because when you see him pop up even like this with the head, and allows him to be able to get his chest up, and when you can get your chest up more effectively, now it allows you to be able to get your knees up better. So the more your chest down than your chin is down, right, the more we're gonna have our weight back, right? But the more our hips are forward, the more our chest is up, and the more our hips are up. So the better we could do of being able to get our hip through, the faster we're gonna be. So if we are overemphasizing staying down and keeping our hips back, it ends up not helping us in being able to run fast. Now, an important thing to be able to see as well is really being able to come all the way, you know, pulling that hand straight back, the down hand here, pulling it straight back as he's coming off, and driving that other arm forward. And I usually say for guys to get their elbow to be able to get up, because that seems to help them being able to get their chest up. Now, what really stands out with DJ here is just an excellent ability to get his knees through and really get a great amount of hip flex. So he's here and he's getting those hips all the way up and through very, very quickly, very, very effectively. So for his size, he's 5'11", looks like officially here, about 178. And he, again, does just a great job of being able to pick up a ton of distance very, very quickly there, landing a little bit far back than what we typically see. So we'll take a look at the time spent on the ground. 07 is when he hits the ground here, and he's off by 2.2. So yeah, that's a little bit long. Typically we want to be able to be closer to, you know, 0.12, somewhere in there. What's important though is he's not into that 0.17 range. So we also see people with that third step that are getting stuck on the ground and get up into 0.17. So 0.15 is not great, but it's also not bad. Where guys were spending a lot more time on the ground to be able to help them pick up more distance per step. And it ends up being a thing where it can definitely be beneficial. If you could end up getting good distance per step and are still able to eliminate the time spent on the ground or spending too much time on the ground, it can be effective. But what I typically see is more people that are spending less time on the ground and are not able to get the right amount of distance. And so what we try to be able to really emphasize is how is it that we're striking the ground to be able to better effectively pick up distance. Because here he's at his 4th step here, and he is really picking up, again, a lot of distance, especially for size 5'11". He's way past that 5-yard mark, right? He's probably closer to 6 yards almost. Let's take a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, he's like 5.5, maybe a little bit under 6 yards when he's hitting the ground here, and he's still staying low even with this foot contact. He hits at 2.9, a little bit far back into the foot, so it's probably going to be a little bit longer as well. 4.4, so another 0.15. And again, we've seen a lot of guys, even like a John Ross, is very quick even at this point when he ran that 4.22, and I think that's going to be the more effective ways really to be able to get a very, very fast foot contact time overall. But great job of being able to, again, pick up amazing distance, right? 6 steps here very, very effectively, and he's just getting what stands out when you watch this in fast motion is he just gets those legs through so fast, so effectively, and is able to get to his top speed very, very quickly. So from the beginning, he starts really getting his chin up, and he almost keeps his chest back and is getting his hips through. And then as he gets going here, he starts to really be able to get that chest up more and more and more, maintaining a very, very effective and efficient arm swing. As he's going through these ranges, he's continuing to be very relaxed with his upper body and very consistent with that arm swing, and he's continuing to get his hips further along, further along, further along. So as he's opening up, he can continue to get more and more distance per step and more effectively be able to accelerate and get into his overall top end speed. And so that ends up being a big thing for him, is he's able to cover a lot of distance per step for somebody his size and ability to turn over as well. So this is 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 18, 18 and a half, 19 steps for 5'11". You know, for me, I'm 6 foot, so I'm a little bit taller. I would probably be like 5'11" and maybe 3/4. I don't know if how they do that, because it looks like they have the arm, you know, 30 and 3/4 and hand 9 and 5/8. So if they get the actual quarters, then I'd be 5'11" and 3/4 or maybe 7/8. But I don't think that would get the full 6 foot. But it takes me about 20.5 steps to run the 40, right? So that gives you an idea of how much. So if he's closer to 18 and a half, that really means that shedding 2 steps because of his effectiveness through the start and being able to generate a good amount of distance per step, as well as because as he's hitting the ground, he's doing a very good job of being able to maintain good length and really get a great range of motion within the foot. So typically what I see with guys that are struggling, especially when it comes to the strength, when guys that are very strong, and I know there's a lot of guys that are like that are watching, that are saying, you know, I could squat all this weight, I could do this, that, the other, but why can't I run fast? What's wrong with my top end speed? What is making it so I can't run in the 4.4s or the 4.5s? What's going on? And the reason is because of the lack of range of motion within the foot and within the ankle. The more effective we can get with our ability to not only bend in the foot, bend in the ankle, bend in the toes, and have that range of motion there, but also still have the capability to be able to push off from that position. So when he's getting into this range here, he's generating force forward instead of generating force upwards. Everybody wants to talk about how there's so much vertical force when you come sprinting, blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of overall vertical force. But what that is the athlete is traveling so effectively in a horizontal manner and generating so much force horizontally in the ground. We can see what makes it so he runs such a great time is how well he's able to pull his foot back behind. That is a horizontal movement pattern. You could tell me all day about how much vertical force you have to create and how that ends up being the main thing that you want to be able to do to be able to sprint fast, vertical force, because this, that, these guys create all this vertical force, whatever. If you watch them running from the side, they're all creating a horizontal pull with their leg to make it so they're landing with their foot into the ground. And yeah, it's vertical because it's right underneath their hips. So it's force that even though the leg is traveling this way, the force ends up being distributed vertically because of the stabilization necessary to be able to get off the ground quickly. So if I was going and landed with my foot out in front of me and created more horizontal force because the foot was out in front of me more when I hit, now what that would do, it would make it so the time on the ground was a lot longer, which would make it so then I wouldn't be able to pick up as much speed or be as effective as a runner, especially when it comes to guys that are able to generate vertical force and effectively stabilize that and then be able to horizontally press off. So they're generating vertical force in the ground by a horizontal pull. So we can see here he's landing at 7.6, let's say, and then he's right back off by 8.6, right? So he spends 0.1 seconds on the ground, and within that time, he is able to, so when his foot hits the ground, his body is, let's say, based off of this, he's at like the 30, right? By the time he pushes off the ground, his body is picked up an additional yard, maybe even more. The side view, or this view, ends up usually showing it a little bit better. So he lands, and you can see how much distance horizontally he was able to pick up while his foot's off the ground. Then he pushes. So until that other foot hits the ground, he's covered almost 3 yards from when this foot hits the ground to when this foot hits the ground. So he's picking up so much distance per step. That's what makes it so then he could run those great times. Yes, he is probably generating a large amount of vertical force, but the real question you want to ask yourself is, how is he generating that vertical force? Is he generating the vertical force from pressing down? And I'm saying this because I watched a video recently and I know this person has a lot of influence on sprinters, and it makes me so upset that people are listening to the wrong information out there, that it's all about vertical force, because it's not. It talks about, we want to be in a Z position, right? And then press straight down. And that is not what's happening here. This is the fastest person that ran the 4. And we can look at on the actual video, they showed Fred Curley as the example. example, and we can look at Fred Curly run from the side. He is not in a Z position as his foot hits the ground. He is in a L position or an I position. His leg is straight and then he pulls. And that's how you want to generate force. We're not generating force with the knee up like this and then pressing down. His foot is in front of his knee. His foot's not behind the knee. So do not listen to that information. It's not about keeping your foot underneath your knee and then pressing down. It's about being able to maximize your distance per step. The fastest guys that are running the 40 and the fastest guys that are running the 100, the main differentiator is how much distance they can cover in their steps. All these guys, when you look to see Usain Bolt, he ran that 100 in like 41 steps or 41 and a half steps or something like that, something crazy. And that ended up being the differentiator, is how much distance he was able to cover. Where you look at most guys and they're running the 100 in, mid 40s to upper 40s to maybe even low 50s, depending on what level we're looking at. So when it comes to running fast, when it comes to being a better athlete, you have to be able to understand the simple biomechanics of what's going to make it so you get faster. I hope this ends up being a beneficial way for you to be able to understand the importance of the information that you're actually consuming and making sure that it is the right type of information that's going to help you get faster. If you know somebody that you think can benefit from this video, please share it with them. Or if you think there's somebody that might be giving the wrong information, teaching the wrong information, or might be utilizing the wrong, watching this video, potentially help somebody, I would say do it, even if it ends up being something that could end up negatively impacting your ability to play or run at a meet or whatever. Be the person that is trying to help people succeed and try to help people raise up no matter what their situation is, and it will all come out to work out in your favor. Trust me on that. It doesn't always have to be about trying to bring somebody down to make you have, the biggest building or the tallest building or reach the greatest height. You got to be able to help build people up, and really by help building people up, it will only make it so you can build yourself up better, and that ends up being a thing in life. And so, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Check out the description down below. We have a ton of great content for you, a ton of great programs for you to be able to run faster, to be able to better understand how to utilize your body and really make it so we can take your overall performance to the next level. I think with the Fast 40 program, there's going to be a lot of great things. I'm just going to continue to generate so much great content. I'm so excited for 2023. I have so many great video ideas to be able to give to you guys. Like, subscribe, and as always, we'll talk to you soon.